So basically writing like it's just little. Yes.
Let's do it. And we'll just reset it every time. Okay, so we typically have 8 slides. Is that too short?
I think it's fine. Okay. All right, friends, who's ready to party? This is me clawing my things so things don't bing and ding while we're doing the thing. This is me going in here, sharing my screen. I am recording this session. I believe the other session is being recorded as well. Okay, thank you. Also, thanks everyone. You're being tremendous today. All right. Boop. Boop. Presentation mode. Do I just, can I double? There's too many things on my screen. Slideshow. Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Programs for Youngins, presented by two gingers. I'm Katrina Kamak. I'm the Youth Services Librarian here at the Park City Library.
And I'm Tammy, and I work for the Salt Lake County system.
Oh, this is a no.
Oh, should we? Okay, should I?
Let's do it. Do it. It's right up.
I'll go first.
Go first.
Okay, so I work for the Salt Lake County Library System. Hello. Oh, half of you guys already know. Okay. So because our system, we have, we're able to have departments, right? So we have like a marketing department and tech services department. We also have a department called early learning, and that's where I work. And there's 4 of us, and we just focus on programs for kids 5 and under. So that's like my whole job. So anything I say today, take with a little caveat, because like that's my whole job, right? And I have never worked in a small library. I mean, I've gone to them as a child, but I've never worked in one. So if I say stuff and you're like, ha, that will never work, then I apologize. Take a piece out. Maybe something does work for you. But I wanted to say just super quick, because we work for such a big library system, we get to like go try other jobs and fill in. So I'm actually working at the jail right now for about 4 more months. So I'm doing a 6-month little thing. We have a library in the county jail, and that's where I'm at now. So I went from 5 and under to incarcerated folks. So. But it's just acting in. My other job is still there. Someone else is acting in. We do that. We need to take care of them. So that is an advantage of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So unlike Miss Tammy and all of her glory and many hands, I'm a one-woman show with a part-time person who works desk for a majority of their part-time hours and who does 2 programs a week for me. I used to be an actor. I did that for like 10 years before I found libraries and kids. It was so funny. Like 22-year-old Katrina was like, children are devil. Children are no good. And then I moved here, started working with kids, and I'm like, oh, they're so good. They're the best audience ever. So started working at the library, started as part-time library assistant. It just happened at that time that our librarian here had left. So I started doing programs, and I was a preschool teacher in town at one of the resorts. So I'd come to story time. So I kind of knew the routine. So I started doing programs like as a part-time person, and then they made me full-time, and then I became a librarian, and I got my master's degree last year. Whoop, whoop. So I'm here. And so like 2 gingers, 1 tall, 1 short, 1 big system, one standalone. Hey. Oh, too many. Oh, you guys, I love this. Okay, you're all so amazing. Okay, here we go.
We're gonna set a timer. We get 5 minutes to slide, and then we're just gonna move to the next one.
Yes. Okay, so weekly programs. We have a lot of weekly programs here at the library. I do Baby and Me, which is like birth to 18 months, twice a week, once Monday afternoon, once Wednesday at 10. I'll do Music and Movement Wednesdays at 11. Preschool story time is Thursday at 10. Toddler time is Thursday at 11. Minecraft Club is usually ages like 6 to 11 or so. We do that Thursdays. My assistant does that. Small and Tall we're doing currently right now. We do in partnership because we're part of Park City Municipal. There's an ice skating rink, so we partner with them. I go over there for a 20-minute story time on Friday mornings. We're in a little break right now, but they'll do like 5-week sessions. I do a 20-minute story time. They all get their ice stuff on, and then they'll go out on the ice and do a group class. I hire out a wonderful local woman, Carrie Kirshner, who reached out and was like, can I do a mindfulness class? And I'm like, yes. And our friends of the library are super excellent and supportive. So they sponsored that program. And it's like, I think we pay her like $40 or something a class, maybe, so then they'll just pay for like 6 months at a time. It's a program that we get to do that our staff doesn't have to do, which is a nice break. And we do that Mondays at 10. And then in the summer, I do story times in the garden at Summit County Community Gardens. I personally have a garden plot there. So it'd be nice. I'd go there on Sundays. It's so funny. I'm like, I'm going to go there so my son can come to story time. And then he just ran around like a crazy person because he's my son. And he's like, I'm not sharing you with like 15 other kids. So we do that out there, and we'll be partnering with them, and we're going to get some planter boxes here in front of the library. So then I'll be doing story time here by the planter boxes versus at the garden. So those are the things we do every week.
Do you read books like about growth or nurturing?
Yeah, I mean, I do themes sometimes, but also I'm a big fan of just like reading what I want to that day.
So since you're in the garden, it doesn't.
Not necessarily, no. So like I try to do like some that are about the garden stuff, but it's so funny. One kid's like, why aren't you reading garden books? I'm like, because they're all checked out. Like it just didn't have them. So, and my weekly programs, usually we have the ones here at the library in this room. We break fire code in the old story time room. So we've moved up here. We do 30 minutes of story time, songs, dance, and then last 30 minutes, I'll get like those big blue blocks out, or Duplos, or balls, or bubbles, or whatever, and we play and socialize for 30 minutes, and that's kind of the rundown of our weekly story times.
Okay. I'm gonna reset my timer. You were fast.
So that's because I'm like,
And I like to stand up, so.
please.
I like 'cause I'm short, so. All right, so some weekly programs that I do is, a lot of you know that we switched to Zoom story times during the pandemic, and we still do some of those because we have such a great turnout, even though all of the branches have gone to in person. But one thing that we noticed with our Zoom story times that was fantastic was the demographic was different. So I worked at a couple different branches, and almost everybody that comes is white. But when we moved online, we got tons of diverse folks. So we will probably keep that for ever long as we can, because we're obviously needing a demographic that for whatever reason doesn't come into the branch. So that's been fantastic.
You did a different time.
Yes, so when we started, we did like 10 a week.
Mhm.
And now we are down to 4, I think, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday morning at 10. And then I usually do a bedtime story time. Also, bedtime story time on Zoom is fantastic because, again, my job has perks. One of them is I'm done at 5. So I would go home, have dinner, and then I would just go in my room and do Zoom story time. for bedtime. So, and then I work as my parents. So again, I would get a different at my 7 p.m. one. And I'm a working mom and I'm an introvert. And once I get home from work, I do not want to leave. So I was really glad that we were able to get some families that were probably the same, right? Never go to a library, never go to a story time, but now they can. So, and it was so fun to watch the kiddos like grow up because like what, pandemic was almost 3 years ago. So there are some kids that I have watched like the second child be born, you know, and then appear. And then I've never seen them in person. Oh, but when I meet them, I'm getting sidetracked. When I meet them in person, it's so funny because on Zoom, they're so big. Focus, and then when I meet them in person, they're like, sometimes I recognize them and I feel really embarrassed because get on their phone. But also bedtime is regular, and then I do a yoga story time. And I actually was asked to talk about that at ULA. So I'm doing a whole section at ULA on that. So if you're interested in yoga story time. And then when I was at Harriman, I was there for a number of years and we would do a weekly dance party in the summer. But marketing is important because we called it music and movement. And then some librarians after I left, the numbers kind of dropped. And I think, was it Mallory? Mallory changed it to calling it a dance party. Exact same program as our music and movement. And then as soon as we said dance party, she said the numbers shot back up again. So naming, actually I went through a whole training about naming your program. It makes a huge difference. So checking what you name your program. So I think those are kind of my regular, what I'm doing now is I've sort of gone to specialized, right? Because when you start, just do like a family story time, whoever comes. And then as you get more comfortable, then try different ones. I would never recommend doing a baby story time your first year. I think it's a harder thing. Also, I love it how we name what we want our story time, like toddler story time or preschool. Oh. But
Yeah, no.
they just come.
Facts.
It's called if they want to come. So
Yes.
And I think when you first start story times, you really want like this age. I said it was toddler. You must be a toddler, and then you're like, oh, that's never gonna work. And you give that one up. So okay, those are
Yes.
basically ones.
To add on to what Tammy said, people are like, well, my kid always sleeps at this time. And I'm like, turns out I don't card at the door. So like,
Yeah.
you're out of the house, you're at the library, just come in, you know, like, and then it's fun if there's like older kids, I'll be like, okay, you need to be my special helper today so I can keep you engaged so you're not hurting small people. Okay.
Oh, wait, I have one more story.
Tammy has one more thing.
Okay, in the bottom corner, do you see the little girl? She's holding a harmonica. Okay, so she played the harmonica for us as story time at the end. Horrible, right? Like a 3-year-old would play a harmonica. And then when she was done, she's like, I've never taken a lesson in my whole life. Got the giggles. Oh, one more. Okay.
Go.
This is Allie. She's the manager at Harriman, and we did a Juneteenth story time, which was very uncomfortable because we were both white. But we acknowledged that at the beginning. We're like, we're here to, you know, we're doing our Juneteenth, and we acknowledge we are white. And then we did a great story time on diversity and stuff like that.
That's amazing. Also, to talk about the size thing, Tammy's like, you are so tall. When I got here, no, it's so perfect. It's the first time we met in person, and I'm like, and you're like a pocket-sized friend that I just want to like carry with me. Girl, that is so my vibe. Also, you've seen me today, so you can tell I'm kind of like, blah, blah, blah. All right. Next. Okay, so monthly/passive programs. So, I mean, these aren't necessarily monthly. These are probably more like quarterly. We try to do one a quarter. We have our crafternoons to go. We did this. We get the crafts from Oriental Trading and we just put them in a brown paper bag. The Friends of the Library sponsor it. We tell everyone the Friends of the Library sponsor it. And we put them out Wednesday mornings and we put like 50 out and they're usually gone by noon. And that's past, like, now with this the way the state does their new stats, it's a passive program, which is lovely. So we do that once a week. We do a costume swap, like at the end of September, where people can bring in costumes. Like we did it from birth to adult. I mean, clearly we had more children's costumes, but I acquired some real gems. I did get a Big Bird costume that was really creepy. And then during COVID, a bunch of library dogs peed on it, but it's fine. The toy swap. Yes, please.
Custom swap?
Yes.
Is it really a swap? Do they just bring it at the event, or do they donate them ahead of time?
So we usually have bring it at the event. So we usually have a lot of people come Fridays, and we literally just open up a meeting room. People can put things out. We don't staff it. We don't do anything. It's a room. People bring things in. People take things. People will come back on Sunday, and anything that is not taken, we donate. Same with the toy swap. Toy swap, we usually do one in the spring and then one kind of before the holidays. We just started these probably right past COVID. Again, bring them. And then it's also great because the toys I bust out at the end of story time, I also go in there, take toys that we're tired of, get other toys out. It's awesome. And people are pretty good about remembering to because we're please have all the pieces, please make sure they're clean. And people are pretty good about just following the rules. So it's lovely. And then it's just I have a sign-in sheet when they walk in the door, and that's how I count the stats for it. But then it's we have it on a weekend, it's in the room, the end, which is awesome. Also, we have coloring sheets and a coloring table. I'll show you that on the tour later. And then we also have our old story time room, which we now call our play lab. We have a kitchen in there. We have a bunch of toys and blocks and magnetiles, and it's just a place people can go in, play, exist with their kid while the library's open. And we swap out those toys one every week. So I'll wash them, throw them through the dishwasher, and then put them back out and swap them.
It's open all the time.
Open all the time. And it's great because literally in Park City, there's just not much to do for kids.
That's free.
Yep, bingo. Do I clean them? Yeah, so once a week, I'll take them out. I have little mesh bags I put them in. And that was one thing too, when I purchased the stuff, I'm I'm going to be putting this through the dishwasher. Great. So I bought things that I knew I could wash. I put them in the mesh bags, just throw them through the dishwasher, lay them out. And then, so I have toys that are once a week. And then we have puzzles and stuff in there too.
At the end of the day, the parents.
Sometimes it depends. You'll notice when we go downstairs, we have whiteboard walls in the room, and I'm cleanup is part of play. And then you're showing your child how to be a responsible human in the world. And you know what I mean? Putting those early literacy tips on the side of the wall. And yeah, some people just, their kids throwing a fit, so they have to leave. But it doesn't get too gnarly, Awesome. Do you guys have any other questions about my monthly program / passive programs? Basically, I was just we got feedback. We didn't used to not do this stuff, but we got feedback. We want more, we want more, we want more. And I'm I don't have more time. I can't make more time. And this is a way to appease, do a thing, but it's minimal setup, maximum output. It's lovely.
I stick scissors through the dishwasher. Your
Mhm.
crafting scissors. I run everything I possibly can through the dishwasher or the washing machine.
Yep.
Lots of things go through. So
Yep.
Scissors all the time. Okay, so these are monthly programs. So first I worked at a branch where Kelly is now. I was at Harriman, and then I moved to this department. So I've kind of done both pieces. So I did a Saturday morning story time, and I called it Dads and Donuts, which is not an inclusive name. So don't use that name. But I liked the alliteration.
Yes.
Librarians and alliteration. Anybody could come, of course. But I'm always trying to think of how can we get the folks that can't come in during the day? I mean, that's all of us, right? We all work. So I didn't want to exclude. So I would do it, and dads, right? Dad's reading is a big deal. So I would do it Saturday morning, once a month. But what I actually found was it was my story time folks that came during the week, and the moms just sent them with the dads. but that's okay, right? So it was almost the whole crowd. They were much quieter. So, yes, so the dads didn't chat like moms chat. The kids were better behaved and quieter, but I don't know that there was as much engagement. I think they were all scared. And then I think maybe you guys have noticed that 6 to 8 age group, man, it's just a hard age group. And I have never come up with something that works yet. So if you guys have, maybe at the end we can chat. I did try an emerging readers club, again, bad name, having bad time with names, but I would do like an easy reader, like Elephant and Piggy. And they would come with their grown-ups and we would read the book together and then we would do craft and activities about it. But I never got good attendance ever. So it did not last long. But I feel like that age group is so important, that 6 to 8.
Yeah.
So as an aside, if you listen to podcasts, there's a great podcast. It's like a 6-episode series. It's called Sold a Story. SOLD, like you would buy something, sold a story. And it talks about reading in America and how essentially we're failing our kiddos and they're not learning to read. Why are you sold a story? But it just makes me think of that 6 to 8 age group where you've got that reading's got to click or you're in trouble. So maybe you have profound things. Play and Learn, we just started as a monthly program. And it's just like a big play space, but we have more time. And so it's very deliberate of what we put out. And we decided to call it Play and Learn rather than just playtime, is because some parents don't realize yet, because how would you know that playing is learning, and so we put the learning to like trick them, so that they would think it's learning when really they're just coming to play. But we know that's learning, right? So then I can be like, this is learning time. Woohoo. And then I do a program called Ready for Kindergarten, and I'm just checking my time. All right, I have 1 minute for Ready for Kindergarten. And it's an 8-week series. So I do it once a week, but I just do it for 8 weeks. And what it is I would describe it as a cross between a story time and a preschool. We're not a preschool, I acknowledge that, but it's a little bit of a fancier story time where I am specifically teaching some skills. So when I do a normal story time, it's just early literacy and it's for fun. And I might say a couple of tips, but like there's no direct instruction. We're just having a good time. But Ready for Kindergarten, I do just a short little 10-minute kind of whole group where we sing and do a song. We always sing the ABCs. And then I have out stations. So it's kind of free time, but they are very specific on learning. So I always try to have an ABC activity, a math activity, maybe sorting or coloring. But again, they're open-ended and they're stations. And they come with a grown-up and I just mingle and chat, but it's way more structured. Well, structured is the wrong word. What's the academic? Yeah. It's an academic story time. And I try to have a mix of things you could do at home so they can go replicate it at home. So it's an easy activity. And then I have a budget. So I spend money from Lakeshore that maybe you wouldn't have at home, right? Because Lakeshore is pricey. Yeah. So I try to have that balance so they get that experience. And I just do it for 8 weeks. I try not to double any activity. So they've got maybe 4 stations each time, 4 times 8. I don't know, what is that? Now I don't know my math. 36. Yes. So they've experienced 36 different activities in that 2 months, so that then hopefully their grown-up can replicate some of that at home and help them get ready for kindergarten. Again, any age comes, of course, even though I market it to 4 and 5-year-olds.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So like you do these programs and like, do you do different locations? Is it always at the same location? Are there other weekly story times that happen at the other locations?
So that is awesome. So where my office is we have a West Jordan library and it's attached to our event center. So I am lucky because I can reserve the event center. So I do my Play and Learn in the event center. The Ready for Kindergarten I did at the West Jordan branch where I am, and then I'm taking it on the road.
Awesome.
And I had it all scheduled and then I went to the jail. But my plan is to do it 3 times a year in different locations, so people can come and do it. Very good
Awesome.
question.
Thank you. All right. Next, big programs. I love big programs. They're my favorite. My favorite part about big programs, it's like, I'll try it once. And then after we do it, I take notes and I'm like, let's do this better next year, this better next year, this better next year. Put everything in a box. Throw it in the closet of no return. Next year, get box out of closet of no return. Look at my notes from the year before, and then I'm like, hey, this is how we're gonna improve it for this year. So, hi, Bob. So we're gonna, I do a big summer slide. We're fortunate enough to have this big field in front of the library. So this used to be the high school. The field used to be the football field. It's now an unfenced dog park. So before programs, I do have to do a poop sweep, but we do summer slide. We don't do like the traditional summer reading program because we have very little staff and it overwhelms me just the thought of it. So I just have big block parties and give free books out, and we make a paper chain of who reads books. But summer slide, I have 2 big slip and slides that I bought on Amazon. One's 75 feet, one's 50 feet. They were kind of pricey, but like you buy it once, you don't have to buy it again. I call our water department. They hooked me up with some hoses. The first year, I just held a hose. I've upped my game, and now we have this little rainbow sprinkler situation that waters the slide. So like, we'll throw down, spend a bunch of money at Costco on snacks. We have live music. So we partner with Mountain Town Music here. So there's a musician singing like kids music on the patio. The coffee shop will be open. We have our meeting room downstairs that'll have free books and snacks and water and all that jazz. But like, people will literally come, like we'll have like 400 people on the lawn with just like blankets and picnics, and everyone's just hanging out.
That's so fun.
Which is like, in my heart, I'm like, I'm tricking them into coming to the library, and and then I'm like, summer slide's actually a thing where if you don't read and use your tools, you lose them. And then I have like little handsouts and stuff. So that's probably like my favorite. And it started off with just like a 20-foot slip and slide from Walmart the first year, so like, and now it's like a thing everyone looks forward to. We also do yearly a gingerbread Jimmy house building competition. He's a local author. We've done it for like 17 years now. Yes. Summer slide. Yes.
Do something like that last year.
Yeah.
And the thing that stopped me was worrying that the kids would bang into each other.
Mhm.
Do you have insurance?
issues? I think that's where we're going.
Oh, insurance. So we talked to our legal department.
Uh-huh.
We also have sleds and stuff outside right now. We just have like a disclaimer on the sleds. We'll put a little sign up that's just like slip and slide at your own risk.
Okay.
That's it. And then we have an adult, or now we have our teen volunteers or teen interns that'll just stand at the top of the slide. You send them down, and they'll just go one at a time. And that's kind of the rule. So like the kids know the drill. They line up, they go down one at a time. They'll bring inner tubes. We have inner tubes. So like, yeah. And like, no injuries yet. Like, and we've been doing it like for quite some time now,
400 people, so you can't argue with that.
Right, exactly. We do a tea party. We did the first one last year. We do it up in this room. We had registration. We had like 80 families sign up, but we only had spots for 60 people. So like, went great. I totally stole the idea from Provo Library. And I was like, I want to do that. I'm going to steal it. So then we went thrifting. We have all mismatched tea stuff. We have the tablecloths. I love orchids. So like we would bring, and we do it in this room. We decorated it. We had cloth and stuff, just like loose lame cloth to totally dress it up. We had a photo station area so people could come in, take their picture. We had a harpist, and then we literally got like snacks from Costco or a local bakery, and we took Uncrustables and cut them in quarters and we have these fancy trays that just sat on every table. Like, it was just super cute. Did it the first time last year. We learned some things. I just got an email this morning that Bill White Enterprises, he owns like 6 very nice restaurants in town, is donating all of the baked goods.
Wow.
So like, we don't have to pay for that. And then I get to be like, hey, Bill White, thanks. Like, and he like, It's great. It's awesome. So like just reaching out, because who doesn't want the publicity of supporting their local public library, right? We're also partnering with Ballet Next, which is we have a woman who's in town. She was a principal ballerina in New York for American Ballet Theater. I will go so quick.
More interesting than mine.
No, you're good. So she was like, you guys have this theater over here. Like, we don't have a home. How can we work together? And then it's like, so we thought about it and we were like, let's do a Park City version of the Nutcracker for free. So they came in, put down the flooring on the stage. You know, got together. I read little blurbs from the book Nutcracker. I had all the kids come down at the front of the stage. There's ballerinas and stuff in the front. And then they did like an abridged version of the Nutcracker. And we had like 400 people in there. Like, it was awesome. So we're doing one a quarter. We're getting ready to do Sleeping Beauty, and Maleficent's going to be a puppet that I'm going to do. It's going to be amazing. So just like partnering is where it's at. Like, I would not be able to do half of these. Like Gingerbread Jimmy wouldn't happen without the partner. Utah Humanities Book Festival, we had Nathan Hale here, like, and Utah Humanities Book Festival paid for half of it, you know? And there's so many amazing authors in Utah too, that'll cut you a deal for doing a local visit. So reach out to the people. I know the executive director of Utah Humanities Book Festival just switched jobs, but they do it in the fall. Reach out to them. They want to have programs at your library and they want to partner. We did a haunted house in here for the first time, which was super fun. We have like grid walls. So then we just got a bunch of those like backdrops for pictures so they could like walk through it. I dressed up as Mary Poppins and then dressed up as a creepy murdered panda for the adult haunted house. We had somebody hiding in a cabinet who scared the pants off people as they left. Like, just something fun, light, a thing to do. And like, one thing about these big programs is having a backdrop that you can buy on Amazon or whatever for people to take pictures, because then they'll post on social media and then they'll be like, look at all the amazing things our library is doing. And then they'll tell everyone, and then you don't, like, the word of mouth just works for you. That's what I got.
What do you do for the Star Wars?
Star Wars Day, we literally are in this room. We have a movie license, which is great because we have a movie theater right here. So like we pay for the 3 years thing. We'll screen a couple Star Wars movies, but then in here, we'll have popcorn. Literally, I have like tattoos, coloring sheets, and I buy swim noodles, and the kids lose their minds with duct tape, making lightsabers. Like, kids as young as like 2 will be like, ah! And then like, there's like 12-year-olds who are like, look at my lightsabers. And I'm like, you are still really into this, which is super cool. Also, sorry, one last thing, stuffed animal sleepover, another low impact, high turnout program. And now that I've been here for a while, like I have kids who I either watched when I was a preschool teacher or who started coming to Storytime who are now looking for volunteer hours. So then I do signups for the kiddos for volunteer hours. They come to the stuffed animal sleepover at night. So we'll have them drop off during the day. All the tweens and teens come with their iPhones. I feed them Dominoes. They take pictures in the library with these stuffed animals for an hour and a half. And we take a photocopy of the stuffed animals. The next day they come, the families come. We have a slideshow. So everyone just airdrops their photos onto the library iPad. I make sure there's no kids in any of the pictures. That's like my one job. And then we just do the slideshow and have donuts and do a story and hang out in here the next morning. So not only is it like a kid program, but it's also, I consider it a teen program or a youth program, like, because there's 15 kids here helping me, you know, so, and same with the tea party. I'm like, let's have our junior national honors. And I just send it to the advisors of Junior National Honor Society. They send it out to their kids and done. Okay, now I'm done talking. Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you. I love the big programs.
Those are fun. Okay, so I really only do 2 big ones, but again, they're in our really big event center. So we've got a huge space. And we do the big play and Get Curious. These pictures are all from the big play and they're sort of the same. So the big play is just huge playtime. And again, once you've bought the toys, then you have them forever, right? And then the Get Curious is the same kind of thought process, but a little more STEMmy. But essentially STEM and playing and learning are all sort of the same. So they're quite similar, but they're super fun. So this one of my coworkers, this is a wind tunnel been made for us. He made 2 of them. So it's just a fan. And then we covered it in mesh cloth so no fingers can get in it. And then this is like, I don't know, what's that hard plastic? We just made a tube with the hard plastic and then a little stand, and we put zip ties, and then you just turn the fan on and they blow all kinds of stuff through it. It's like, anyways, awesome husband that made it. And it's a hit everywhere. That one's great. And then I love this one because look, we got a dad and a kid together. So that's what we always want, right? So I love it when they come and play. And we did an outside water system. The Viridian's really cool. You can open up the doors, kind of like they're like window garage doors. And so then it's all one big space. So we do both of those once a year. Well, not during COVID, but we're starting back up again. And we get between 300 and 500 people that come, and it's just like an open house, open-ended, 2 hours. And that's why we also started doing the play and learn on a smaller scale once a month, because they always say, we want more. Can you do this every Saturday? No.
Yes.
Sorry.
Literally somebody asked me if we could do the summer slide every weekend, and I just looked at them and I'm like, we live in a desert. And I was like, no.
So that's my, like, as I visualize really big. So
Outreach. If I had all the time in the world, I would do story times and programs for all the preschools and visit all the elementary schools. But there's just not quite enough time. So I will read at area preschools. There's a preschool actually up here on the 3rd floor, right behind that door. So I'll read to them once a month. I'll go to the local elementary schools that have preschools, read to them once a month. Also, there'll be there's registration events at like the end of summer, or they call them here back to school nights. So like I'll set up a table, I'll talk about some of the offerings that we have. I always have a bucket of stickers that are literary themed, and it's hilarious, and they're so cheap. Another Amazon thing, we're terrible. We're trying way hard not to buy on Amazon as much, but like there'll be like 15 tables and everyone's just like hoarding through all the stickers that cost us $5.99, and like everyone's at our table, which is like great. Take as many stickers as you want. Awesome. And then also sign up for a library card, and here's our calendar of events. Different community events. There's like Latino Arts Festival that we'll table at. There's the what is it called? Arts Festival that happens up on Main Street. And then there's like a kids area. So we've tabled at that, like had a craft. One year we took our 3D printer there to show people that like, oh, look at these things that you can do at the library. But really and then I try to go to like the middle schools and elementary schools and talk to their classrooms about just all the stuff we have. Cause that's some feedback that we get is like, people just don't know what we have, right? Like every library's problem is they just don't know the resources. So just trying to like get the kids excited. You can check out a GoPro or a ukulele and books, just like trying to get the word out. I clearly like big events more than outreach.
that's funny. Okay, so part of my job is outreach. And so we try to think for my particular job on a really big scale. So not just schools, but I really like going to schools quite a bit. When I was at the Harriman branch, a librarian that was there previously, Tina, made a lot of contacts, and we would go do school assemblies and talk about summer reading. We reached a lot of kids, but they were very stressful. I did not miss those. And mostly the technology, right? Because we could always do a slideshow, and it was hard. But I was out in Harriman, which is part of Salt Lake County, which is full of children. I think 90% of the population is children out there. So there's like 10 elementary schools. I mean, it was a whole thing. So I don't miss that. But Tina did great work. My thought about outreach is it takes a lot of time, right? And it takes a lot of time to make the contacts.
Yes.
So like listening to Katrina talk about all the people that just takes years to build up, is what I've discovered.
Yes.
Is to make those connections. And then some areas have such a high turnover rate. You've made your connection and then 2 years later, they're gone. And you have to start over again. So I think my biggest takeaway for outreach is don't get discouraged, right? Like it just, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you've done all the hard work and then you lost your contact and you have to start over. So it just takes a long time. I feel like. So these are a couple of places that we go to. This picture is at Wheeler Farm. So Wheeler Farm is a working farm that's part of Salt Lake County. So we just partnered with another county entity, which is great. So maybe partner with city entities that are already there. A lot of times we have the same goals. Before COVID, we would go do story times at the shelter, at the homeless shelter, which is always emotionally hard, but I'm glad we could provide that service. Again, it was actually pretty small. So we'd be doing, anyway, all the things of where best to use your time, right? That's always hard. I would go do story times at Head Start classrooms sometimes. We did story times at Primary Children's Hospital before COVID, and we were just in a tiny room and they would video us and it would go to all the screens in the hospital if the kids wanted to watch. I think that one was great. I think we should do that one again.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because it actually had a pretty far reach because any family in the hospital could watch it. And they recorded them. So sometimes they would play them later if kiddos wanted to. I like that. That's a good reach. I think we should build that up because we also lost a lot of our connections when COVID hit. We also try to reach out to refugee communities and see what they need. I would second what Katrina said. Libraries, we have a marketing problem. Nobody knows all that we have to offer. I don't even know all that we have to offer when I go look at all of our databases. So reaching out and finding what people need around you and getting people to come use our services, right? So
100%.
Anyway, there you go. And also there's so many things, if you don't like something, pick something else, right?
Yes.
I mean, I feel like we have a lot of room to kind of, in some ways, build parts. Like if there's a demographic that really speaks to you, well, you probably only have time to meet one demographic. So pick the one that speaks to you,
100%.
especially if your boss lets you, right?
Yes.
Because we can't reach everybody. And I feel like we'll do a better job if you're speaking to a community that resonates with you. Okay.
And to that point, like when Tammy, I was like, I want to copy that story time for nighttime. Like 2 families, 1 family, me just doing it for my son in my living room with Zoom turned on. Like it just like didn't work. And I think the biggest thing for me is like, you know what, if nobody shows up, just cancel it because no one's showing up anyway. It's totally okay. Like you tried it, you did the thing, see what else works. Because like not everything's gonna stick, you know? So don't beat yourself up if it doesn't work because you have other things that you're crushing. And just like finding the things that you get excited about because your excitement translates automatically to what you're doing. Like there's no one else. Like that's how you become the best salesperson for that thing because like you love doing that thing, you know.
And if there's enough of us, we'll cover every demographic, right? Over time and over.
Totally. Awesome. So questions, comments, share time. What's worked for you? What do you want to steal? What can we steal from you? Give me things to steal, please. Anything you've been super like proud of that you've done or that you're like, this is my little baby. But
I have one.
Go.
Started last summer. We did a puppet class. So the kids came and learned how to talk like a puppet, and then they did a puppet show at our story time, and that was a hit.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
We have to buy anything because we already had the puppets.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Folk Manus.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, friend.
I'm at an elementary school.
Mhm.
And, I didn't realize that you would come do assemblies or do, especially like sharing about the summer programs. So
Mhm.
just a suggestion, it might be great to have like a little email or a flyer or something that goes out to the public schools around you.
Yes.
How librarians, that is something to offer.
Yeah, I have a, like your Outlook, how you can have like automatic emails sent to certain groups of people. Like I got my school librarians one where it's like, hey, we're doing this. Can you spread the word about it? Like the Nathan Hale event we did here would have had probably no one come, but we made a poster and I sent it to the school librarians who pushed it for me and we had 70 kids. I didn't get those kids. The school librarians got those kids in the building, you know?
Yeah, especially like I'm in a Title I school, so having that opportunity, those opportunities available for our students. is
Mhm.
awesome.
Mm-hmm. And that's like a great way to capture those like young readers too, like those school librarians. Like,
Yeah, the public library, Salt Lake Public Library
Mhm.
does send up a gal to read to the preschool. I think she comes once a week.
mhm,
And I think that's just fabulous.
mhm. Love it. Yes, friend.
So we used to do, I work at the West Jordan Library that shares the same space as Tammy, and for several years, we did a Nutcracker tea party.
Yeah.
Stole the good idea a little bit off of Provo too.
100%.
But we use that huge event center and we get, a musical therapy teacher. And Stephanie knocked the Nutcracker with the kids with props and bubbles and parachutes and stuff. And then, we have a table set up with, like centerpieces and things like, and then we get like cupcakes from Smith's and punch and things like that. And then we put out, we buy a bunch of crafts from oriented trading.
Yes.
That are Nutcracker themed and put those out.
Yes.
And
Yes. I totally forgot about one of our big programs that we just did. Speaking of Nutcracker, we did a winter fest where we literally had a sensible snowy backdrop, a little snowflake costume from Oriental or craft tables. So there was like, make the snowflake bracelet or make this frame or whatever. Had hot cocoa, sledding and paints outside. And the FOL had a book sale. And like 3-day program done, you know? We had a couple questions in the chatty poo. When creating connections for outreach, do you reach out to them or did they reach out to you? For us here, sometimes we'll have folks or nonprofits reach out to us. There's also a really great like nonprofit hub in Park City called the Park City Community Foundation. And they even have like they have a nonprofit like connection lunch too, where you can meet other people who work for the nonprofits in town who like it's just like a networking event. So we do that. And then have we done any kind of Spanish story times or bilingual story times? Yes. In fact, during this presentation, our Spanish services librarian was doing a bilingual story time in the next room over. I used to be the youth services and Spanish services librarian, although I am not bilingual. And finally, we advocated super hard and got funding for the Spanish services librarian because 25% of our population is Latinx.
We do a Zoom bilingual
Yes, ma'am.
Zoom session, but the time is not right.
You're
We
good.
need a different time. We do it on Thursdays at 10 a.m.
Sure
And
can.
then, or a weekend to reach enough. So,
There are a couple branches.
Awesome, I can help you bring stuff up.
yeah. Do any of you?
We have.
You have one?
Okay, awesome.
We had a
Perfect.
part-time employee. who
Awesome. You got it, sis. We'll see you in a minute.
A native speaker.
Goodbye.
and She does a beautiful job. But then her visa wouldn't allow her to do an extra job. And so now she does it as a volunteer. Doesn't get paid. She's awesome. But I struggle with that. All the rules for our immigrants make it
Mhm.
hard to.
That should be our mission, is we need way more librarians of color and librarians
Fact.
that speak Spanish.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a huge gap, I
Awesome.
think, in our profession.
Awesome. We're going to also just like be chatting and sharing things out over lunch. So this will kind of like segue right into that. Any other questions online? I hope you all got things out of it, even though like you were looking at my weird profile and probably like just Tammy's head. I don't know. Thank you, everyone. Let's have some lunch. Woohoo! Okay. Outreach and partnerships, join.
So am I in the right place? Have we started yet, or should we be in a breakout room?